Hello! This video, as the title suggests, we've finally got our hands on this beautiful beast. 3 books, 1 DM screen. Let's dive in. A really sturdy slipcase for a start. That feels pretty solid. The DM screen, we will look at that in close detail. The Light of Xerxes, I am actually having the pleasure of being a player for a change, so I will flick through that but not go into detail. Then Boo's Astral Menagerie is obviously the monsters. We will look through that and then I will make a longer video diving into some of the monsters in it. But today, mostly it's the DM screen and Astral Adventures Guide, the actual player mechanics. Effectively, this is 1 book, maybe 2. You know, normally, like Volo's guide will have a load of stuff at the beginning and then the end of it is monsters, right? They've done that with several books. You always expect to find monsters at the end. It's just separate. It's a separate book here. Is that a good idea? For me, I play the adventure, I'm DMing, and I have to scoop towards the back for the monster section. There's still only 1 book open. I'm not needing both areas particularly of the book. This gives me 2 books open, which is meant to make it easier, but when I got my list of notes as well, I'm not sure if that will help or not until I use it in practice. I do like the idea. I like the idea of being able to say, look players, that's for you, monsters are for me, and here's the adventure. I do like it in theory, but whether having more books open helps me in the long run, I don't know. So now I'll change angle and we'll look at the DM screen. Well, there is no faulting this artwork. That is lovely. A great mix of colours. And I notice here that's actually foiled. A lovely touch. As a printer, I do the foiling, so I know the extra work that's gone into that. That is a good thing. So the first segment. Setting DCs, that's pretty standard. Which skills need what ability check? Suffocating. Now this is something that's coming up in my game. I do not like this mechanic. I had a player being smothered by a mimic map. It wrapped around his face and was suffocating him. And it's, as you can see here, 1 plus your constitution modifier. So that equaled like 4 minutes, which was so many rounds. It wasn't really a problem. So I really think it needs to be something like 4 rounds, and each round is 30 seconds. You know, just so 4 rounds of combat almost, that's what I mean. And every round is 30 seconds, and then obviously he has longer than that, but I think a round should be 30 seconds in suffocating, not 60 seconds, that's what I'm saying. Weightlessness, let's see. Where gravity is not present, the following rules apply. When making a melee attack with a weapon, a creature that doesn't have a flying or swimming speed, either naturally or provided by magic, has disadvantage on the attack roll unless the weapon deals piercing damage. Unless the weapon deals piercing damage? It's a weird choice. Movement. A creature can use an action to push off something heavier than itself and move up to its walking, flying or swimming speed in a straight line. The creature continues along the course, moving in a straight line at its speed on each of its turns until something stops it or changes its trajectory. That makes sense. We have a nice map of the Astral Sea and realm space, other things in it. Realm space, useful DM stuff. An explanation of the air envelope. Things have big air bubbles around them, so we can breathe within this white bit. And then the line here, the gravity plane, goes right across the middle, so that if you're on top, the gravity's pulling you down, but if you were to go underneath, you're upside down using gravity like that. Next phase of the board is encounters. Now what I really like is this attitude. We're all familiar with roll tables on what you fight, okay? Like 1 lunar dragon. That's got a little, that's good. It's not actually a monster encounter, it's something you come across. So usually we used to solar dragon, whatever it is, but this, the attitude roll, is really good. Because you roll a dice, it tells you what to roll for each thing. Look at the chart and it tells you whether the animal is hostile, indifferent or friendly towards you, because some might run off. Not everything has to attack you. So the main bulk of that is things you come across in space, which is so useful, especially as we're all new to this. The third part, ship encounters. So again, attitude rolls as to whether they're friendly or hostile. Brilliant, really good. That should keep you going for a few games. There's a chart about the distance, whether you're in range. The DM determines how far away the ship is. 1,000 foot is beyond the range of most ranged weapons. Crashing. When you hit something, if you ram it, or whether you crash by accident, big damage. So you can actually crash into things by choice, should you desire. The final quadrant, shipboard tasks. During the uneventful part of a voyage, downtime, the captains of a spelljamming ship can put crew members to work in several ways. If a character is looking for a job to do, or if a captain wants to keep a character busy, roll on the shipboard tasks table to determine what needs to be done. The time it takes to complete a task is at least 1 hour. That's also really good. Now, because I've played Starfinder for a while before this came out, and I did find that how do you keep them busy on long flights? This will do. Let's see. Compose a new chanty, which requires a musical instrument. Entertain the crew with tall tales or gossip. That, I'm really a fan of that. Ship quirks. D10 table. A chassis but harmless spirit haunts the cargo hold. The floor of the main deck is adorned with a stylised rendering of a mysterious star chart that pulsates occasionally with scintillating colours. This is good. I didn't realise. I've not properly had a look at this. Ship cargo. What's in the cargo? Because that's another thing people will say. What are in these boxes? And there's your crate roll table. Expensive cargo and cheap cargo. Very, very impressive DM screen. Proper thick, not like the paper ones you get with the Essential kit, was it? Intro. Vast oceans of adventure. Character options. Astral Adventuring. Then it is ships, basically. Ships. And then the Rock of Brawl. There's not much to this book, and this is the main explanation of everything what goes on. So we have a very short piece about the setting. So the Astral Plane is quite literally the plane of stars. More precisely, it is where the stars and portals to the heavens reside, an infinitely vast celestial void that surrounds all the worlds of the material plane. Every D&D world, whether round, flat or some other shape, exists in an airless void known as wild space. A world might be solitary or it might have neighbours. One or more suns, worlds, moons, asteroids, comets, or other bodies. This neighbourhood of celestial and planetary bodies is called a wild space system. In wild space, the material plane and the astral plane overlap. Creatures and objects in wild space age normally and are effectively on both of those planes at once. If you were to leave your home world and continue outward until you neared the edge of your wild space system, you would begin to see a faint silvery haze. By travelling into this haze, you pass from wild space into the astral sea, more colourfully known as the silver void. The deeper into the astral sea you travel, the thicker and brighter the haze becomes, but the stars that shine through it are always visible. Wild space and the astral sea together comprise the astral plane. The astral sea, like wild space, is a void, however. It is not an airless one. Here you can breathe normally and exist indefinitely. Brilliant. Never aging, never needing food or drink. You can propel yourself through the astral sea with the power of your mind alone. Though many astral voyagers wisely travel in well-armed ships, for this place is the home of a host of fearsome creatures. Here, travellers might find the petrified hulks of dead gods and swirling pools of colour that serve as portals to other planes of existence. Much in the way that oars and strong winds enable travel by sea on terrestrial worlds, magic items called spelljamming helms are used to propel and steer ships through wild space and the astral sea. A spelljamming helm customarily takes the form of an ornate chair in which the ship pilot sits. To attune to a spelljamming helm, one must be a spellcaster. The pilot of this spelljamming ship is called a spelljammer. So yes, this beautiful starlit space, wild space and the astral sea, it starts off with a great little roll table for adventure thing. Let's just pick one. In the wilderness on your home world, the characters find a spelljamming helm in the wreckage of a crashed scorpion ship and run afoul of goblins who want to plunder the wreck. Straight away, you've got a great place to start off. Or the characters are hired by a trading company to protect a valuable cargo that's being delivered to a distant world. The characters become crew members aboard the squid ship that is transporting the precious cargo. So yeah, roll table to start off with. Pretty decent. Character options, where we get into the nitty gritty of it. Backgrounds. Astral Drifter. Plasmoid there. For longer than you can remember, you have traversed the Astral Sea. There you experienced first-hand the wonders of the Silver Void. You stopped aging and no longer felt hunger or thirst. Driven by wanderlust, you drifted from one part of the Astral Sea to another, like a mote of dust on the wind. You have lost count of the decades that have passed since you arrived here. Skill proficiencies, insight and religion. These are obviously suggestions, but very strong suggestions. Don't forget, you can just do whatever the hell you want. Languages, 2 of your choice. Celestial or Gith recommended. Equipment, set of clothes, diary, ink pen, bottle of ink, pouch containing 10 gold. You are 20d6 years older than you look because you spent time in the Astral Sea without aging. I rolled this in preparation and I think I got 63. So let's say he's 63 years older than he looks. Level 1 feat. You gain the Magic Initiate feat and must choose Cleric for the feat. Basically, you know some Cleric spells straight off the bat. In the Astral Sea, you cross paths with a wandering deity. The encounter was brief and non-violent, yet it made a lasting impression on you. This deity saw fit to share one secret or obscure bit of cosmic lore with you. Work with your DM to find out what it is. Roll on the Divine Contact table to determine which one. One of those. Wild Spacer. Yankee Wild Spacer. You were raised in the void of wild space, home to asteroid miners, moon farmers, and other hardy folk. Perhaps you grew up in a far-flung settlement such as the Rock of Brawl, or you spent your early years on the crew of a spelljamming ship, performing helpful chores such as swabbing the deck, loading and offloading cargo, and scraping barnacles off the hull. Whatever your history, life in wild space has toughened you so well that you are as brave as a miniature giant space hamster when it comes to facing the terrors and other challenges of the airless night. Skill proficiencies, athletics, survival, navigator's tools, a club, basically a pin, set of traveller's clothes, grappling hook, rope, 10 gold. The close encounter table, what you ran into. Then this feat, you gain tough feat. In addition, you learned how to adapt to zero gravity. Being weightless doesn't give you the disadvantage on any of your melee attack rolls. That is worth bearing in mind, isn't it? That you will not be rolling disadvantage when fighting out in space. Then we will look at the races. These are them in a nutshell. Astral Elf, Auto-Gnome, Gif, Hadozi, Plasmoid, Thrycreen. Astral Elves. Okay, so let's just skip the whys and wherefores. Humanoid, medium, 30 feet. You know one of the following cantrips: Dancing Lights, Light or Sacred Flame. Intelligence, Wisdom or Charisma is your spellcasting ability for it. Choose it when you select this race. Dim Light, Dark Vision up to 60. Fey Ancestry. Advantage on saving throws. To avoid or end the charmed condition. Didn't that used to be you elves could not be charmed? Or maybe it was a save. Can't remember because I'm a DM. Keen Senses, Proficiency and Perception. Now look at this, Starlight Step. As a bonus action you can basically Misty Step in space, which is called Starlight Step, just to be fancy. Astral Trance, yes, you don't need to sleep. Magic Cap, you need to sleep. You can finish a long rest in 4 hours. That's pretty standard, isn't it, on this elf sort of basis. Whenever you finish this trance, you gain proficiency in one skill of your choice and with one weapon or tool of your choice. You mystically acquire these proficiencies by drawing them from shared elven memory and the experiences of entities on the astral plane, and you retain them until you finish your next long rest, so you can swap them out every rest. That could be overkill if used correctly. Autonomes, blah de blah de blah de blah. Table of stories of why and wherefore. You're a construct. You are small. I thought they were doing away with the you have to be small. Surely you could choose your own. Oh no, is it one D&D that's sort of saying, shall we just choose whatever. Basically everything should be customizable, shouldn't it? Armoured casing. You are base armour class 13 plus dex. You can add a d4 to one attack roll, ability check or saving throw. Healing machine. If you have mending cast on you, you can use a hit dice. In addition, your creator designed you to benefit from several spells that preserve life. Cure wounds. Yeah, they don't normally affect constructs, but they do here. When you take a long rest, spend at least 6 hours, then you're alright. Gain 2 tool proficiencies. The GIF, medium, 30 walking speed. Your psychic connection to the plane enables you to mystically access a spark of divine power, which you channel through your weapons. When you hit with a simple or martial, it takes extra force damage. You can use this trait, yeah. Firearms Mastery. You have a mystical connection to firearms that traces back to the gods of the GIF who delighted in such weapons. Ignore the loading property of any firearm. Attacking at long range with a firearm doesn't impose disadvantage. Wow. You have advantage on strength and strength saves. You count as one larger. Hadose. Questionable images, as you're probably aware of. Dexterous. As a bonus action, you can use your feet to manipulate an object. Open or close a door or container. That's what I like about Hadose, the feet. I know it sounds weird. If you are not incapacitated or wearing heavy armour, you can extend your skin membranes and glide. Say what? Okay. The magic that runs in your veins heightens your natural defences. When you take damage, you can use a reaction and reduce the damage. Huh, that's alright. Brilliant plasmoids. Love these things. You are an ooze. You are medium or small. 30 foot. You can squeeze through a space as not narrow as 1 inch. Advantage on grapples. Escaping grapples. Dim, yeah, dark vision, blah blah blah. You can hold your breath for an hour. Resistant to acid and poison. As an action, you can reshape your body to give yourself a head, 1 or 2 arms, 1 or 2 legs, and makeshift hands and feet, or you can revert to a limbless blob. As a bonus action, you can extrude a pseudopod. Oh yeah, it's like Mage Hand. Basically, it's a Mage Hand what stays attached to you. Can't attack or lift more than 10 pounds. Now these things. Thrycreen. You are a monstrosity. Armour class, 13 plus dex. Change the colour of your carapace to match the colour and texture of your surroundings. Good fun. Dark vision. You have 2 slightly smaller secondary arms. Below your primary pair of arms. The secondary arms can manipulate an object, open or close a door or container, pick up or set down a tiny object, or wield a weapon that has the light property. So, you could attack 2-armed, have a dagger in both hands, and I think that would give you 2 offhand attacks, or have a sword and have 3 offhand attacks. That's how I understand it. You don't need to sleep and can remain conscious during a long rest. Telepathy. Use your telepathy to convey your thoughts. It doesn't need to share a language with you or understand your thoughts, but it must be able to speak at least 1 language. Then we're on to Astral Adventuring. Now check this out. When cruising through space, a spelljamming ship can travel 100 million miles in a day. At this speed, the spelljamming helm makes minor course corrections on its own to avoid collisions with meteorites, other detritus, space-dwelling creatures. A spelljamming ship automatically slows to flying speed when it comes close to something big enough to have its own air envelope and gravity plane, so you can't just run into a planet without knowing about it. The spelljamming helm produces a feeling in the spelljammer similar to moving a limb that has fallen asleep. Pins and needles. So you literally get a feel to be at one with the ship. Spelljamming duels. A ship can have more than 1 spelljamming helm, but only 1 can be used at a time. So if someone jumps in the second chair, there's a duel. It is a con check, and the lowest check loses and gains 1d4 levels of exhaustion. Envelopes. Just how big the envelopes are. A creature that needs to breathe will exhaust the air in its personal envelope in 1 minute. Fire in space. Although non-magical fire cannot exist in the vacuum of wild space, magical fire does burn in the vacuum. Magical fire does not cause objects to burst into flame. however, because there is no air to make ignition possible. I'll use space fireballers. Air and gravity from the DM screen. Envelopes of objects, blah, blah, blah. Air quality, gravity planes. Then there's bits about the astral plane itself. Astral fishing seems to be a big pastime. Here are the spelljamming helms. And then it's basically on the ships. This is the famous 2 pages about how ships work in Spelljammer. Now, there's been complaints because there's only this bit and it doesn't help much. But if you want to play a much more full-on space adventure, play Starfinder. It comes from Pathfinder, which is D&D. I think it's like 4th edition. And we play it, or I did play it, and yeah, it's more detailed, but it's too detailed. So this is quite refreshing. So there's a little about the crew, and then it talks about the variant rule. And basically, it tries to get you to do, not for everyone on the ship individually, but the whole ship, like enemy ship, rolls a d20 with no additions. Flat d20. And the players roll flat d20. And then everyone on that ship goes when they want to go, in whatever order. Yeah, I had questions about that. I didn't really like it. It means a long, long wait. Or either on the players go, or on all the enemies goes. And whoever goes first really could just annihilate the others. So personally, I will keep it to person-on-person individual roles myself. How you move and steer a ship, boarding another ship and crashing. So as I say, we've looked at the running into other ships part. And then to repair a ship with no magic or anything, it takes a whole day to restore 1 hit point. The mending spell is cheaper, less time consuming way to make repairs. But yeah, just like bog standard maintenance. 1 hit point per day. Then it's just a matter of all the cool ships. Look how little there is though. Look how little detail there is really, but then again, what more do you need? There's 2 guns. There's your layout of Bombard. There's your layout of Damselfly. Flying Fish ship. Hammerhead ship, which is in the Spelljammer Academy mission. Lamprey ship. The rest of the book is just this. Living ship. Nautiloid. Night Spider. Scorpion ship. Shrike ship. Space Galleon. Squid ship. Star Moth. But seriously, you have got a layout here, but literally just empty space, big picture, and hardly anything in it. Turtle ship, submarine types, great. Tyrant ship, as featured in the mini adventures. I mean, look how blank this wasp ship is. You have a summary here, then you have that. That's all your information. But is that all the information you need, really? The Rock of Braal. Now it comes with a big fold-out map of the upside, the underside and the top side of this wonderful asteroid. And there's a little bit of lore about who's running the place. And it basically breaks down high city areas and God talks about underbarons, the middle city, the low city, a pub run by a beholder. That sounds wonderful. And then the underside, what's underneath it, and that's it. That is the entire book. It's a lovely finish to it. Really nice cover. And this is the book I can't look in, so I'm going to give you the most rudimentary flip of it, and I'm going to do it with this hand. I'm actually not going to look in it. I'm going to look up at the sky. Yes, so that's the campaign. Then basically the monster manual. There's Boo, who is apparently a famous person. Well, hamster. A little bit about Boo. Your overall stat block guide. Sorry, I'm doing this all freehand. So again, a load of encounters. I think it's the same as the DM screen. Then we're on to the weird plants. These plant life things. I'm going to make another video about these. Astral elves, a few elves, autognomes, boxset. Anyway, you get the idea. Now Chewingas. Chewingas are in the campaign we're playing, Tomb of Annihilation. Never heard of them before, and then there they are. So, Eyemonger. Yeah, I'm going to make a video with more of these things in depth-ish. I don't know if I've mentioned the thickness of the paper, but my friend in my group pointed out that the paper does seem thicker than usual. To bump up the content. Vampirates. Pretty cool. And that's it really. It's a good box set. It's what about £50 in the UK? £40, £50? Get a DM screen. That's got to be a good thing. Just for that. That will make running the game much more smooth. But I'm not running Spelljammer. My friend is. That's why he's bought this book. I like it. I'm excited. It's thin on the ground of the nitty gritty in depth, but I think D&D wizards and such are wanting us to put more of our own work into it, as we all do anyway. So maybe the sparsity is to spark our imagination. Well, I'm gonna now think about filming a more in detail look at Boo's Astral Menagerie. But I thank you for watching so far, and I will see you in another video. Oh, please let me know your opinions in the comments. Right, now you can go.